What's up, guys? On today's video, we're going to be talking all about self-filming. Like I said in the intro, today's video is going to be all about self-filming. Self-filming's kind of been near and dear to me. I started messing around with the camera about 6 or 7 years ago and pretty much been self-filming ever since. It's something I've kind of whittled down and kind of narrowed down throughout the years. I think I've finally kind of got the setup whittled down to the bare minimum. If you guys have any recommendations on what you're doing differently or maybe using different gear, go ahead and comment below. I'd like to hear what you guys are doing a little bit different. I'm always open to new suggestions. And if you're a first-time watcher, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And you can catch up on all of our videos. So the first thing that you're going to need is some way to support your camera, whether it be a tripod or a camera arm. Most of the time I'm running a camera arm because I'm hunting out of a tree. And the last couple of years, I think it was 2 years ago, I got the Fourth Arrow camera arm. So the Fourth Arrow base itself is, I noticed, has a lot more flexibility. It's pretty much on a ball joint here. The camera base on the Fourth Arrow is really, really cool. To be able to put your camera onto a support system, you need a video head, and I would recommend a fluid head. And I've been running a Benro S4. I've had this for a long time. It's really small, compact for a fluid head. I believe Manfrotto makes one too. Fluid head is pretty important, and basically there's like a greased bearing in there that has like a counterbalance weight. And whenever you put weight on this, it makes for a lot smoother movements. So basically, whenever you're doing a pan and tilt, it's just going to make your camera movements really, really smooth on a fluid head compared to like a friction head. Pretty much all fluid heads have a universal thread system on the base, and your supports, whether it be a tripod or a camera arm, have that thread on the base too. So you just screw that on like so, and then your camera arm will go onto your base that goes onto the tree like this. That's pretty much the whole camera support system set up. Another thing that's pretty important, but it's not really necessary, is having a second camera angle. You know, the reason why I like it so much is it just adds some production value. It can get pretty boring whenever you're just using one camera. You want to be able to cut back and forth. It'll help you edit, and it just makes the video look a little bit better, in my opinion. And for my second angle, I'm just using a GoPro Hero 5. Because this is so much lightweight, so much more lighter weight than a main camera. It's easy to carry in and just get a bunch of extra B-roll shots of walking in, looking through your binos, whatever the case is. You can mount it to your truck while you're driving around, whatever. But pretty much whenever I'm sitting in the tree, I have it facing towards me. And the way I have the GoPro mounted, it's on a GoPro Jaws clamp mount, and it's got this really serious heavy-duty clamp, and it's got a bendable neck, if you will. But you can manipulate this in any way you want. So you can mount this on tree limbs, you can mount this on your bow, your gun, your stand, whatever you want to mount this on. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And lastly, and most important, is your main camera. I've been running a Canon EOS R. This is a mirrorless camera system. If you are going to be self-filming, it is probably a lot easier using like a actual dedicated like an actual like video camera or a camcorder. And you know, you got plenty of options out there from Sony, Panasonic, Canon. They all have prosumer camcorder type cameras that have like an automatic zoom that zooms in and out with just a touch of your thumb. Whereas like a DSLR or a mirrorless system like this is all manual on the lens. You know, focus, zoom in, zoom out. So this is kind of tough to use as a self-film option. It does have a little flippy screen where you can flip it towards you. So it's like a vlog style. You can see what you're filming when you're filming yourself. Whatever camera system you do go with, I would highly recommend looking for a 4K option, as you don't have to zoom in as much on a 4K, because if you're going to be exporting your video footage in HD, if you're shooting in 4K, you're pretty much doubling your frame size, so you can zoom in on that image a lot better and still have a pretty crisp image of the deer or whatever it is that you're looking at. The other thing that's pretty important is having a good, pretty decent microphone. This is a Rode video mic, but it's going to sound a lot better than the internal microphones on any camera. Now I'm going to take you guys into the backyard, and I'm going to set it up like I would in a real hunting situation. All right, so I got everything set up here. Now I'm doing this out of a saddle. It shouldn't be any different out of a tree stand, but first thing first, you want to mount your camera arm on the strong hand side. So if you're a right-hand shooter, mount your camera on the right side. That's the most important. And the reason that is so you can grab your bow and you can run your camera. Grab your bow with your left hand and run your camera with your right. And you can make adjustments as is and then still be able to shoot. Another thing with the flippy screen is that you can turn it out and turn it sideways like that so you can view it at any different angle, which is another really cool feature of a flippy screen. And like I said, whether you're in a tree stand or a saddle, it doesn't matter. Mount that on your strong hand side. That'll give you the best option to be able to move the camera around and still have the bow in your hand. Another thing, I like to mount my GoPro above me on the knot of my tethered. You could use a tree limb or anything like that, but it gives you a really good down angle. So if anything's coming behind you and you can't get footage of it from the main camera, this should be able to catch anything that's coming in from behind you. Yeah, this is essentially the setup that I go with here. Another thing that's really important is mount your camera base onto the tree about waist level. It seems awfully low at first, but you know, this is a pretty big difference. You know, it's a pretty big gap from here to your lens. So if you have it mounted pretty low, about like that is just right, where you can see your screen still. Gives you about chin level view. But it's really fun to get out there and self film, so go out and give it a shot if you can. Thanks for watching.